everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and about 2 weeks ago I made a video about how Winx Club had been turned into a dark and edgy show for teens and adults, and how this was becoming kind of a trend with Riverdale and Sabrina. Only a few days after this video released, we all got the news that the CW, who released Riverdale, is also going to be releasing a Powerpuff Girls live-action, aged-up reboot. The show is super early in production. They've only requested a pilot and they haven't even cast it yet. So all we really know is this short synopsis that they released.
The Powerpuff Girls used to be America's pint-sized superheroes. Now they're disillusioned 20-somethings who resent having lost their childhood to crime fighting.
Now I admit my first gut reaction to this was, oh my god, did they really just refer to the Powerpuff Girls as disillusioned 20-somethings? And my next gut reaction was, oh no, this sounds so much like Umbrella Academy. Are they just trying to take Umbrella Academy's success and put a nostalgic IP over it? But then I remembered it's not even out yet. There's no guarantee that it's going to be bad necessarily, and this actually is an opportunity. Because truthfully, I don't necessarily think that a live-action, aged-up version of Powerpuff Girls has to be bad. In fact, I think that there's ways it could be really good. So I wanted to try and basically design the characters, the main three from Powerpuff Girls, and sort of talk about how I would approach this if this was my job. If I was told, hey, you have to make a live-action, aged-up version of Powerpuff Girls in a way that honors the original series and is still really fun and engaging. So that's what I'm gonna do. So starting off with Buttercup, because believe it or not, Buttercup was my absolute favorite when I was a kid. I was obsessed with her. I thought she was the coolest. I just thought her whole energy and her whole like super aggressive attitude and the fact that she was just absolutely tough as nails was really appealing. I just totally idolized her. So I wanted to start with her first. If she was aged up, now they said they're 20-somethings, right? So we don't really know what that means necessarily. Usually I guess people say 20-something when they're at least over 21, probably out of college. So I'm basically designing her as like between the ages of 24 and 27 probably, and I feel like Buttercup would probably get pretty into like sort of alt fashion and more like dyeing her hair, maybe like piercings and stuff like that. I just feel like that would be the kind of thing that she's really into. She likes things that are hardcore and really like aggressive. I also think that she would probably continue being really interested in like physical fighting. It's her favorite thing to do in the actual show. She loves actually like being in the action. So I feel like she would get really into like martial arts. And I also pictured her kind of as like a roller derby girl. I just felt like that whole aesthetic and everything would fit with her perfectly, and it would be a really fun sort of like hobby or interest for her to have outside of crime fighting. Now, honestly, I feel like she's one of the least likely ones to be disillusioned with her childhood of crime fighting. I feel like she would still be really into it. In fact, I can even picture her going out of her way to find conflicts and opportunities to be a vigilante, possibly to the point of conflict. I think one of the things that really resonated with me when I was a young girl and I was watching Powerpuff Girls is that even though she's like pretty aggressive and she's definitely not trying to people please or anything like that, she's definitely not a gloomy or misanthropic character. She has a ton of energy and confidence, and I just really hope that they maintain those core aspects of her personality in the reboot. Next up, I wanted to do Bubbles. Bubbles was my sister's favorite, and honestly, she is a very iconic character still to this day. She is the sweet and cute and nice one, and probably acted the most her age of all of the main cast. So one of the most important things to maintain in her design is, of course, her pigtails. I placed them a little lower on her head just to suit her older age, and I also think that if I was actually styling her in the show, I wouldn't necessarily always have her hair in pigtails, but probably in a symmetrical two-part hairstyle like space buns and things like that. I feel like that would be a good way to sort of honor the original design. Another cute nod to the original would be giving her a purse that she could use throughout the series that is like one of those plush purses, just because she loves stuffed animals so much in the original show. And I think she would probably still be interested in art or something, because she always showed a special interest in coloring and drawing. And I would really style her with like sort of kawaii influenced fashion. I can even picture her as someone who would like wear sparkles on her face on the daily, no special occasion needed. I just really think maintaining that like childish, fun-loving attitude in her would be really great for making the show still feel rooted in the original characters. Now, if they must draw the conflict of the Powerpuff Girls not wanting to fight crime anymore, I think the angle I would go at is that either Bubbles or Blossom is no longer interested in physically fighting crime. I feel like this could work because as they get older, maybe they started to realize that just like punching criminals isn't always the best, and there was always lots of allusions to the fact that like the mayor is really incompetent and like semi-corrupt and forces them to deal with every threat and every problem. So I could see a empathetic character like Bubbles eventually having a problem with the way this is. But truthfully, I feel like this angle is a really like weird one to take with this reboot, and it's the thing that I'm most nervous about as for how it's going to end up being when it actually comes out, because I just feel like they're going to end up fighting crime in the TV show anyway. Like, it's definitely alluded to that there's some kind of major threat that they're all reuniting to fight against, and that they're going to have to do that. So it seems like they've created this scenario where they resent their superpowered childhood, but they're going to have to fight crime in the show anyway. So basically you've created a scenario where they're still fighting crime as they had when they were children, but now they just don't want to. And that seems like a really boring and dumb conflict to me. But I mean, maybe they're going to do it in a way that's interesting, but this is personally not the way I would take the show if I was adapting it myself. But anyway, I really see Bubbles as someone who still loves animals, still loves stuffed animals, still loves coloring, still loves art. I think she'd probably maintain most of the like personality that she's shown in childhood, and I think that she would be a really fun sort of lighthearted character to make sure that the show is not getting too dark and edgy. Next up is Blossom. She is the leader character, and she usually keeps her two sisters in check. While they are both sort of extreme ends of the spectrum, the sugar and the spice, Blossom tends to make sure that everyone's making like decent decisions and doing the right thing, and she really balances them out well. Now, I feel like Blossom would definitely be a really responsible adult. I feel like she'd be the type of person who seems older than her age just because she's really got everything all together. I don't see her as the type of character who's like really struggling in her 20s. I think she would be, like really, really productive to the point where it's like probably annoying to the other two girls. I definitely think she has like a bullet journal and a workout regimen and likes eating healthy, aesthetically pleasing foods like, I don't know, smoothie bowls and stuff like that. That's sort of the character I picture her as. I also definitely think that she might end up interested in like justice in other ways. Like, I wonder if as she gets older, if she'll still be satisfied with like just like beating up criminals and handing them over to the cops. I feel like if any of the characters were going to have a smooth transition into maybe not wanting to fight crime anymore, I think it would probably be Blossom. I can even picture her going into like law school or something like that, trying to find other ways to change the world and to fight for justice without having to go out and like rough it in the wilds of the city. And I also wonder if maybe she would get fed up with the mayor always taking advantage of them and making sure that like her sisters don't always have to just do whatever he wants thanklessly because he's so incompetent. Though I guess by the time they're 20 somethings, will the mayor even be alive? I'm not even sure. Would he still be in office? I don't know. But I should say one of the things that I'm most concerned about with this reboot is the fact that it's live action. That's the other thing that's really driving me crazy about this, because Powerpuff Girls had such a distinct and really cool style. You know, it's not just that it was like really stylized character designs, but they had like this sort of wild retro you know, color block style of everything, and they had that narrator talking about Townsville all the time. Like, this is stuff that's not easy to translate into live action, and if they just drop it completely and don't replace it with anything, it's gonna feel really empty and hollow. Now, it's not impossible to maintain that kind of stylized feeling. For example, Edgar Wright's adaptation of Scott Pilgrim, I feel like did an excellent job of making it still feel stylized and like poppy and cool. And they did that just with like editing choices and things like that, special effects. So it's not impossible by any means, but I do kind of doubt that they're going to put that kind of effort into this reboot, which really concerns me. But let me know what you think of this news, and what you think about my aged up redesigns. Thank you so much for watching till the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much to my patrons, including Sean Davidson, Gracie Rose, I Am Gender Fluid Salt, Deadly Nightshade, Maria Vasquez, Astral Fox Art, Munch Munch McGee, Dreff Shranick, Middle Z, Alcapa, Lily Allure, The Expressive Poker Face, Morrissey Axolotl, Big McLarch Huge, Chris Draws, Subaki, Snow White, The Becky, Liliana Hammond, Mia Lavalley, Angel File, Q Musgrove, Nicole Ledwalk, Nicolette Queen, Rainwater Pearls, Ice Cream Pal, Best Kaiju, Lion, Nato Kamagire, Ilaria Louie, Nora Cornelison, Cola, Your Boy ST, JJ Jade, and of course, Libble.